We are discussing the setup of the workshop, which is not so easy because we have a difficult topic, and those kind of workshops with the whole management and the second and third level, so we will have the management board here and the second level as well as the third level management, team leaders, unit leaders, etc. And the question is now how we set up the chairs. If you sit in rows, if you sit like in a theater, something like a half pipe, two half pipes, or at tables. So what do you think? What makes sense? The topic is extremely difficult. We have to convince, or the management has to convince the more than 50 leaders, 40 leaders about the aspect, the changes they want to introduce, changes in terms of personnel policies or working hours, wages, etc. All these kind of difficult things will change for them, not in a good way. So, and we are the facilitators of this program, of this 2 days workshop, which goes 1 day and a half day. After the 1.5 days, we will have the total employees of the company in a conference, information setup, and before the trade unions will be informed by management, by the owner of the company. So those kind of workshops we have from time to time when people don't want to go out of the company, if they don't want to go into an outsourcing process, going to a new company entity, finishing their contracts, signing new contracts with the new company. All those projects, programs are very difficult, and this is something like this. And what we will do is we will create first a sense of urgency, so the management will present the finance, the CFO, the Chief Financial Officer, will present the numbers, and then the discussion will be about the issue of what will happen if nothing happens, or what would happen if nothing happens, or what will happen if they occur, if they change those boundaries, those personnel policies for the whole company, for the headquarters, so to say, because it's a very international company. And then they are in trouble in terms of competition with the other locations in Asia, in America, etc. And here the competition of the locations is very tough in terms of salaries, in terms of working hours, in terms of costs of these locations. So we will have to create the sense of urgency and then to discuss this together, and then to see what the leaders can do in order to convince the employees or to work with them on the possibilities of organizing these changes. And one of the first steps, of course, is that the top management is convincing first those 45 leaders in the room, managers, in order that they can convince their employees, so step by step. And what we will do at the beginning of the workshop, after the information of the managers, they don't know anything yet, they will be informed by the Chief Executive Officer and the Chief Financial Officer about the situation and about the goal and the changes which will occur. And then later on, immediately, we will do a survey in terms of my belief in, from 0 to 10, my belief in these changes and my commitment to it, so my personal commitment. How much I want to commit myself to these changes, and how much I will fight for the realization of these changes. This we will measure at the beginning of the workshop and then later on at the end of the workshop in order to compare the first step with the last step, and to see if there is a change in the process, and if we could convince, or if the management could convince their managers in order to go through these changes. And besides those two steps, we will have a lot of group work. Therefore, I personally prefer the table setup. We have to see when we will mix it up, the group, and where we'll have organizations around the business units. So it will be a max mix and a functionally organized setting of this allocation of the managers to the tables. If we would create a large circle, I think the danger would be that we have to control the setting and contain what's going on here, because the frustration, the disappointment, I think the level of disappointment and frustration will be very high, and we have to give containment, we have to contain those dynamics and those feelings as a staff of us, oezpa Institute managers, management consultants, as well as the containment by the management board. So we have to work hand in hand. We are in the middle in a way as consultants, so we are facilitators. We want to help management, where we got the assignment from, but we want to help those managers of middle level and lower level as well. And both has to be successful, and we have to bring them together, that they can see their management role and managing in difficult times. Therefore, they have to convince their employees. Managing in good times, in sunshine weather, it's very easy. It's not real leadership required or management capabilities, but leadership in such a situation where you have a difficult negative change for those colleagues, which is clear. So I look forward to this workshop, how it will go. And the other point is that we as staff have to be careful that we don't split up, and that we don't have a difficult dynamics among ourselves. So it started a little bit already. When we arrived, we didn't greet each other really properly, all of us. So just saying hello, how are you, welcome. And it's weekend, it's Sunday. It's for us difficult as well. We are very far away from our institute, and we will see how it goes. This is now the solution. Little groups of 5. So that the groups can discuss